Okay, folks, we're back in Vintage Story. We're returning right after our adventure looking for limestone, where we found one seashell, which was not nearly enough limestone for our future needs, or lime for our future needs. But we're going to continue on with this episode. We're going to see about getting a little bit more in the way of lime. And we're also going to do a few things. Like, one, before we can do anything with that seashell, or even limestone if we find any, we need to make a quern, which is a type of hand-powered mill. So I figured I'd start with that. So let's go ahead and get the tools we need for that. And for that, we're going to need to make a chisel, which we have not made a chisel yet. Or for that, we're going to need one of these copper ingots. Put that there. We're going to grab our tongs and our hammer. Let me get this torch over here. Put the berries in my inventory for the moment. All right, there we go. Go ahead and get the forge lit. We'll go ahead and make those. Actually, you know what else we're gonna do real quick? We're gonna make two tools real quick. There we go. Because I think we'll make the chisel we need, as well as making a pair of shears we need. Because we're really gonna have a good supply of wood moving forward and whatnot. We're really gonna want tree seeds, and the easiest way to get tree seeds in bulk is to use a pair of shears on tree leaves. The other thing I kind of did off camera, well, I smelted it off camera and put it together just now, is I made myself a flax, which is a type of sword, because our scrap sword is about to break. It's only got 5 durability left, so that'll be to replace our scrap sword when it breaks. I'll just wait for this to heat up real quick, and then we'll be ready to make our chisel, so we can go ahead and get our quern made, and then our spears, so that we'll have them ready to go. And I know I said it last time, but I do love how they did the blacksmithing in this game. And I know they plan on expanding on the way some of this crafting in this game works. So there we go. The first one is ready. That will be for our chisel. There's the copper chisel. Go. And there we go. Just a little ting sound they did. They did a good job on this. Alright, that's actually all that we have to move. Now, it's just cutting the excess material off. There we go. Chisel done. Just gonna put that over here in our inventory. As long as we have the tongs equipped, we can pick up hot metal and stuff. The other thing we need, these shears here. Alright, now these shears are a little more complicated to make, so we're gonna have to do some metal to the right. We'll do some more metal to the right here. Now that I've rotated the tool. Alright. And then we need 2 there, 2 there, 2 there. There we go. I'll go ahead and move those down. What makes this tricky is you end up with this metal here in the middle, and the only way to get it up and out is you have to hit it backwards and then off to the side. And I'm going to do that to get some of the metal we need here. Go ahead and move those to the front here where our cutting blades will be. There we go. All right. Alright, now we'll work on the back here. Yep. Almost there. Yeah, the shears are a little tricky to make. I think I can do... Yeah, so once you get it separated in the middle, you can do it over. Alright, let's go ahead and do this one to this side. Then both these would come down here to the bottom. There we go. And now we just snip out these few remaining bits. And there we go. Shears. Alright, now we'll put the shears. So, one of the things we can do is we could put them in a chest if we had an empty space, but there we go. We'll just put them up there. Yeah. Put our tongs up there as well. Put our hammer over here for now. And yep. Forgot I put the tongs down too soon. And burned my character's little hands. There we go. Okay, so we've got all that. And now, let's get the rest of the stuff we need to make this worm. So we're going to need andesite bricks, which I think I left inside. So let me go grab those real quick. There's our andesite. And we need... Nope, that is still too hot. Okay, so we're going to have to cool those off here real quick. That's not what I wanted. There we go. So, when you have a hot tool like this that you need quickly, you can, quite literally, just go throw it in the water. And I haven't set up a quenching pond over there at my forge yet, so we're just going to throw it in the actual pond. And there we go. Now it's cooled, and we can use it. Then we'll go put our tongs away, because we don't need them anymore. And now we just need our hammer. And so what we do is we do our stone brick, or stone blocks like that. Hammer on that side, chisel over here, and a stick on either side, and that makes your quern. There we go. Put our chisel back. Where'd my hammer go? My hammer in my offhand for some reason. The hammer over there, and I'll put the quern probably right here, because that's going to be about where I want it anyways. There we go. So, and then what we can do is we can right-click that, and it opens up this little window. We can put things we want to grind in here, and then we'll just hold right-click on that, and we'll grind them into a powder. Now, with that all done, make sure we've got the things we need. Just reorganize a little bit. I am carrying an extra axe with me just in case I need it, because I do intend to do some more wood cutting at some point today. But I think we're going to go back to my raft and go look for some more, or look for limestone or chalk or something. Some source of materials for getting our lime to do our tanning. Put these turnips in here. What's the temperature out? I think the parsnips should be okay. Yeah, the parsnip should be fine. There we go. Just keep our farm running here. Nothing else is ready to harvest, but, you know, we'll expand that later. I'm going to go put these turnips up, and then we'll go on our adventure. These are the barrels I'm going to be using to make leather, by the way. There we go. What I should really do... And I think I will do this real quick. Yeah. I have some rammed earth that I'll use for the moment, so I'm going to grab a block of rammed earth. grab 4 pieces of firewood. Just gonna put this in here for the moment. Grab one of these, one bowl, and a crock. So we're gonna take some food with us. So we got our corn there. Like I said, I wanted this to be our kitchen, so I think I'll put my piece of rammed earth kind of... where do I want to put this? I think I'll put it here. There we go. Then, because I'm going to use this as a place to kind of set up a little cooking fire. There we go. Cooking fire. We'll put our cooking pot in it. And now let's go get some stuff to cook, because realistically, we should take some food with us, since we're going to go on a long journey anyways. Now the question is, what kind of food do we want to take? The bushmeat is good, but we can't make stew out of it. I want something we can make a stew out of. I don't really have... Well, I could make a vegetable stew. Yeah, we'll do a turnip-based stew. We'll make 8 servings of it. And we'll do some mushrooms with it. And we'll do some onions with it. There we go. So that'll make 4 servings of stew. And we'll just go and eat this bushmeat here, because we can. So there we go. We're going to split that in half. Go. And we'll get that lit up. There we go. The other thing we'll do is we're going to go grab some of this peat from up here. Because I'm actually planning on moving my pit kilns as well. You know, take some of this peat and put it down here. I'll just put that like right here. Because I like to use peat for my fuel sources. It just works really well. You know, gets you good temperature. It's unfortunately not renewable. But, you know, I like using it. I particularly like using it for my pit kilns. Now, firewood's perfectly fine. And you actually do need firewood for certain types of cooking. For example, when you get into baking, you have to have firewood. I will set up an oven at some point. And part of the reason I'm leaving that outer layer around my kitchen here is that's going to be my outer wall of my kitchen. Which is something we may get to in this episode, depending on how long it takes us to find a source of limestone. There we go. I didn't even need that extra peat. There we go. So what I will do... I'll put this in my inventory. I'll get this peat out of my inventory first. There we go. We'll take this crock, put it down, take this pot of stew. Oh, that's not what I wanted. Messed that up. Just put that torch in my inventory. I don't need it right now. There we go. Okay. I'll put the cooking pot there. And we'll take the crock with us. That way, we have food with us to go. Alright, so let's get on the road back to our raft. Because the problem is, we're looking for kind of an almost yellowish white colored stone, like, or kind of a white stone. Like this is too white. That's not what we're looking for. That's almost snow. In this case, it means there's like caves in the ground there. This gray stone here, that's conglomerate stone. This is andesite. That's slate. None of that's what we're looking for. And this one is like granite. So, and I haven't seen, and this is like all conglomerate over here. So we're probably going to have to go around this way. Then there's a merchant over there. You go see what that merchant is. So we're going to go back to our raft, which I've parked up here next to this merchant, and see if we can't find a source of limestone. I'm also going to eat this last piece of bushmeat, just because my character hasn't had a whole lot of protein in his diet. There we go. Also frees up an inventory space. And let's see here. How am I doing on grass? I got plenty of grass in my inventory. Part of the reason I was checking the grass in my inventory is because I'll probably make and carry a straw bed with us, just so I can sleep through the night, so we're not having to just sit there through the night and try and navigate in the dark and all that. Actually, I'm going to pin this just so I can see that. That way it always shows up on my mini-map there, so I can kind of see it. Like, you can see my house on the bottom right corner of my mini-map. It just tells me that it's in that direction. Makes navigation between certain points a lot easier. Did I actually save that? Let's check. Oh, cancel. No, I didn't save it. I always just pin it and then close it without thinking. Alright, let's see here. What do you have here? We have some andesite under the slate here. Oh my goodness. I nearly had a terrible accident there. So what that was this gravel was over a cave entrance, and it collapsed as soon as I stepped on it. So that would have been really bad. So I'm going to mark that cave, just so I know to be really careful there, because that scared me in real life. That startled the heck out of me. That's the thing about walking on gravel you got to be careful about. You can get landslides like that on gravel and sand if there's instability and you don't realize it. That startled the heck out of me in real life. At some point I'm going to come back to this cave, because I might want that quartz. And I keep looking at these quartz bits sitting here on the surface, going, oh, is that borax? No, it's not. I'm not that lucky. Alright, so let's get this going here. Get our ore. That's all I wanted. Come on. There we go. We'll back up. And we'll head out this way. You can actually turn on that instability thing where we'll get landslides with dirt, too. I've never tested it. I know people who have, and yeah, that can get real dangerous. Like, you'll be walking up a hill, and then the whole hill will just slide down and bury you alive. Just dangerous. Dangerous, if you ask me. And I suppose if I was doing this proper, I would have brought my prospecting pick with me, or even a pick. That would have been probably smart in hindsight. But if we find a limestone biome, I expect we'll find gravel and such, and sand. And we can just grab that, or grab rocks off the ground. See, that's got some light areas on that island there, but I think it's just where the ground's like raised up. I don't think it's actually like different stone, because looking at it, it doesn't look like different stone. And at some point we will build like a proper sailboat, and that'll be for when we get into the story content. So while we're sitting here going on this long voyage with our raft, let's talk about what my goals for this series are. So, one, I want to complete the story content. Now, there's two like major chapters or three major chapters in the story, and I want to get through all of those. Now, to do that, there's going to be several things we're going to have to do. Like, one, we're going to have to get properly into the Bronze Age, which is one of the things we're working on. I did do a little bit of prospecting off camera, or off recording earlier, and we'll do some more prospecting once we get our lime problem sorted, because we're going to need a lot more materials. We're going to need a lot more copper, a lot more tin, and all that, so that we can get proper bronze. And then, you know, we're probably also going to want to get into at least the Iron Age, just so we have good gear to do the story content with. You can do it in bronze gear. I mean, you could do it in copper gear, theoretically. Theoretically, you could do it in... No, you can't do it in... Well, you have to be in the Bronze Age to start it. But that doesn't mean you couldn't try it with stone gear. I'm not going to do that, because I've seen it done. I've seen people do it, and it's a little bit of tough. There's some fights that you just have to get through in it. So we're gonna do it in either bronze or iron gear when we get to that point. The other thing I kind of want to do is, since part of my channel and one of the things that I really need to get better about is remembering kind of my motto is prosperity through grit, guile, and glory. And well, what's prosperity in vintage story? Survival, sure, that's a good thing. But we have merchants, we have traders. So let's get a double chest just full of money, which is rusted gears, is what they use for currency in this setting. So let's just see if we can't, through trading and through resource farming and through dungeon diving, if we can't just get a full double chest of rusted gears. I think that's a good little just side objective for this series. We're going to stop off at this trader, see what kind of trader it is. If we're real lucky, this will be a treasure hunter trader, because that's the kind of trader you need to even start the story content. And if we find one, that'd be great. So we're going to get over here and see what kind of merchant this is over here. I like the little merchant caravans. There's some mods that change the merchants a little bit. Generally, they don't change like how the merchants function, is what I've noticed on a lot of the merchant mods, but they change like some of their caravans and how they look and how they set up. Like some of them will have camps instead of little like caravans. There you go. You just hold control and right click to put the ore down. I do love the fact that you can attach a little reed basket to the back of these things. Alright. He's a building materials trader. So he'll buy, you know, black bronze is expensive to make. Owl treasure chests, bismuth bronze, tin bronze hammers, bismuth bronze lanterns. So he'll buy that stuff. And he sells gray shingles and brown shingles, red clay bricks. So he sells all kinds of building materials. So let's talk to him again here and just say, what's your name? And his name's Herbert. So we're going to mark him as a building materials merchant. And we'll do him as blue, and we'll say building nuts. Just so we know who that is. Don't really know how I feel about selling like our bronze tools and stuff, particularly yet. You know, when we get a little further along, it gets a lot easier to get tin bronze and stuff. Then, you know, maybe. I'm just going to explore, poke around a little bit here. You never know, you might find, like, a bismuth, you know, surface vein or something. I don't really want... See, what I would like to find is some exposed stone, so that I can use that Shift H function of the handbook to see... Well, we got another surface copper node here, so I'll mark that. Just so, because I mean, we will need more copper in the future, but that doesn't really help us. Boulder. Right, let's get straight. Let's see if it works on the boulder here. Shift H. That's my wife sneezing in the background. Gazoon tight, dear. She's been having some sinus problems recently. Gazoon tight, love. Alright. Let's see here. No, that doesn't work. So we're going to have to, like, find some exposed conglomerate stone or something here. Yep. I'll just dig this out real quick, just so I can see what this stuff can have in it. So I need H. Alright. So you can get brown coal, black coal, andesite, or anthracite, sorry, which is another type of coal. Lead ore, iron, copper, manganese, zinc, alum, not sure what that is. Borax, so we can find borax in this biome. Fluorite, yeah, fluorite. Halite. So we might be able to find salt, because that's what that is. Carnite. Phosphorite. Quartz, obviously. Sulfur, which is very good. And then, of course, cracked conglomerate. And that's all, and it's not really good for anything beyond that. But it does tell us that we'll want to come back here with, like, a pro pick at some point and do some prospecting. But for now, we're going to head on. Especially because we're not seeing, like, any surface deposits of what we're looking for. Although we've got another copper deposit right here, so that's really good. So we got lots of surface copper around here, which is very handy. But again, not the stuff we're looking for in kind of the immediate future. I'm just going to break this to see if I get any sticks, because I could use more sticks. See, that's the other reason I made the shears, because I will need sticks in the future. And also I can take the seeds with me to plant more birch trees near to my house. There we go. Just a few extra sticks. And still nothing of great value on the surface beyond the copper, which, again, we'll probably come back and mine those copper nodes out later. Because they're not far from base or anything. Alright, so let's just get on our raft. It's also control right-click to pick that up again. Go. Alright, and map-wise, we just kind of want to work our way around to the south here. Now, what's interesting is our gear is turning, meaning this area is not very temporally stable. Which is very interesting. And what's interesting about that is out here in the water. I think there's actually a mod that fixes that. Oh, look, you can see some quartz right there in the exposed rock. So the other thing about those quartz veins, since I mentioned this earlier, I mentioned that I was going to go mine that one quartz vein that's nearer to the house, is that's actually where you can find your silver and your gold veins, is inside of quartz veins like that. And the reason that's important is silver and gold is what you use to make the black bronze that the guy wanted to buy stuff made out of. And black bronze, of the bronzes, has like the highest durability, if I remember correctly. But it's also kind of the most annoying to make, because you have to find silver and gold, which is not super common, obviously. Let's see here. We're just going to keep going. You can see another quartz vein up there. We'll also keep our eyes out to see if we see any halite. Because, you know, if we find some exposed halite, we'll definitely mark that, because that'll allow us to do things like curing meat, which is a way to preserve meat for long term. It'll also let you make, you know, pickles and stuff. That goat was just going to come out here, I guess. Which is actually something I've never found in the game. I've never actually found salt in the game. So you can also use it to make pickles and all kinds of stuff. And cheese, which... And the way you need it to make cheese is you have to first make pickles. Use pickles to make your cheese. Which, again, something else I've never actually done. So we might add that as a, you know, possible optional mission there. I'm not seeing anything too crazy out here. Wait, we got something over here on the left. Let's get closer to this. Let me see, can I put my torch in my offhand? I can put my torch in my offhand. That is very distracting to look at, but I can't do it. This is conglomerate rock, and we've got some brown coal right here. So we're going to mark that. So let's see here. Let's do this. We'll do brown. There we go. Brown coal. Save. That way we know there's some brown coal over here. Well, it goes down too. No. That's very interesting. Let's see here. How's our rift activity? Is low. We're going to stay offshore. I don't know if I can do that with this torch. Alright, let's put the torch away for now. One, we don't want to risk it going out. And two, it was kind of blinding me here. But let's keep going and look for that limestone. Keep forgetting that if I look too far left or right with the character, it stops paddling. You kind of have to be looking forward or backwards, depending on if you're trying to go forward or backwards. That looks like more andesite. More conglomerate stone. Looks like a big old cave over there. Let's just keep going, see what we find. So in my previous playthrough, I had to make a journey like this to find bees. We lucked out this time that we found some fairly close to where we kind of set up our house. And as I said, one of the things I'm going to do at some point is build a sailboat so we can do longer journeys like this more easily and carry a lot more storage with us, because sailboats have places on them where you can put like full actual like chests, not just these little reed baskets. So we'll get a sailboat eventually. I'm gonna build my dock over there near that merchant, I think, or I'll just cut a pathway over to the ocean from the house, because I think I want to do that and build a paved stone path to the ocean from where we've kind of set up our base as kind of a long-term project as well. That way we have easy access to it. Now we can get to the water, we can set up a sailboat. I just want to see what the plants these are over here. I don't think they're anything important. Yeah, they're just a flower. Actually, let's make sure that's not conglomerate stone. Andesite. It's andesite. Okay. I wonder where we at here. There's another big island over there. Looks like there's some ruins there. Or a merchant. It's hard to tell. Sometimes the merchants can be like up under the trees and stuff. It could also just be a forest. I'm not seeing any more obvious merchants on the map here real quick. Because that's one of the things I like to look at for as well. Because obviously, to really do the storyline, we're still going to have to find that treasure hunter merchant. And that could be a journey. But you can see that right there is ruins. The ruins are good because you can find all kinds of treasure in ruins. There's actually some near our house that I have to finish exploring. Because they have some cracked vessels, which look like the storage vessels you can make. But you can't open them. That you can just break them and get whatever's in them. It's actually how I got the bronze knife I'm using. It was out of one. It was a tool vessel. Because you can find tools, you can find ores, you can find seeds, food. And there's one near our base with some seeds in it. As the rain sets in here. This is where I should have gone ahead and made that bed, and I think I will do that. There we go. So now we have a bed. So we can just pull up to shore here, throw the bed down somewhere, take a nap until morning. So we're not just exploring out here at night. So we'll just go do that over here real quick. And there's a rift right there, actually, I think. Yep, that's a rift underwater. Not seeing any enemies. More andesite stone. There we go. And sleeping should be fine, because the enemies don't attack you in your sleep, thankfully. It's not like it's freezing outside, so our character doesn't have to worry about freezing to death or anything. There we go. We'll pick our bed back up. Let's just put the seed in this bed here. We're going to open up this, throw the bed in here, throw the seed in here. There we go. And we'll just poke around here a little bit. Wow, there's a lot of rifts. It's very high rift activity. That's why there's a lot of rifts. See here, we got andesite. Sort out. Got a cave, which I'll mark. You never know, there might be something of value in the cave. But we're not going to explore it right now, because I'm not really geared for it. With the high rift activity, I don't really want to fight the wave upon waves of drifters right now. But we'll get back on here. We're just going to back away from this. And go around. So again, our real goal right now is limestone or chalk or something. Something that will let us get a source of quicklime. I do not like that portal just hanging out there under the water. Those rifts, they can be real annoying. All kinds of rabbits over here. Now what's interesting is, you've seen how big this waterway we've been paddling on is. This is only with 30% oceans. Only 30% of the world is ocean, theoretically. I feel like that percentage isn't exactly right, but it could be wrong. Again, I haven't explored the whole world in the game, obviously. Now look at that big old pine tree over there. Or oak tree, I mean. I think that's a huge oak tree. There's one actually near our house that's like 4 oak trees wide. And that's something I'd seen before. I know you can get some big like redwoods and stuff in this game, but I've never seen an oak tree that size in the game before. It's also covered in mushrooms, so I'll probably go over there and do a bunch of mushroom harvesting later. Several of them were edible varieties. The other thing we should do is, while we're out and about, keep our eye out for high fertility soil and crops we haven't encountered before. There's a deer. Or an elk, I'm not sure which. And the elks are cool because once you do the first chapter of the story content, which is where you buy that information from the treasure hunting merchant, and then you go on the little adventure he sends you to, basically, you can buy from him a tamed elk that you can ride around. And I want to do that. But one of the things we're going to be releasing in the next major update is the ability to capture and tame your own elk without having to buy one from the treasure hunter. Which I think that's going to be really cool. I'm glad they're doing that. Let's see, there's another quartz vein over there. What's this? More andesite? Yeah, that's more andesite. Right. You might just have to head farther south. Lots of those rifts around. It's andesite gravel. So let's head south. We'll just head directly south for a bit. This is a big lake, or a big ocean crossing here, especially on a little paddle raft like this. I know also they plan to add more varieties of fish in the game. That's also something coming in the next major update, I've heard. Because currently it's just, like, I think salmon. And there's no real fishing besides, like, throwing spears or shooting arrows at them right now in the game. And then butchering them with your knife. Which, I mean, that's alright. It works. But, I look forward to actual fishing. I know there's some mods that do some fishing. Like, I think Primitive Survival does fishing. And I think it basically allows you to set up, like, fish traps, and I think it keeps track of, like, how much fish you've pulled out of an area, things like that. So that you can actually overfish an area if you're not careful. But I haven't played with that mod before. But I probably will on my next big run. We do. And wow, this is a huge ocean crossing here. Yeah, we were out of sight of land in both directions. Definitely would not normally want to do this on a raft in real life. I've known some people that have done, like, big sea kayak trips and stuff. But nothing like this. Nothing crazy. Let's see here. Do we even have anything on the map? No. Wow. We need to stop and feed our character real quick. There you go. So, you can just pick up a bowl and, you know, left-click the crock in your inventory to fill it up. And there we go. Now we fed our character, so we can keep paddling. We're in another area of low temporal stability. Or we just got out of one, I'm not sure. Looks like we just got out of one. Kind of weird temporal instability out here in the ocean. Normally you tend to see that more in like deserts and mountain biomes. And then we've hit a fog patch. In case you're wondering what's going on with the screen here. What all this white, suddenly kind of almost white out is. Alright, so we are coming up on land. Okay, good. What time is it in the game? Yeah, it's only 11 a.m. Coming up in a rainstorm. That's a pretty impressive rainstorm. Hopefully we don't get struck by lightning, because that can happen in the game. You can also turn it on to allow lightning to start fires. It's a quick way to lose, you know, a bunch of peat. Because apparently you can set the peat on fire and it'll burn out the entire peat node. I've not turned that on. Because it's not on by default. But getting struck by lightning can still happen. And I've seen one or two animals get struck by lightning in the game. You know, find like a rabbit, it's just been zapped. I mean, it's free, you know, food, but still, gotta wonder what the odds are for that to happen in this game. Okay, let's see what kind of terrain we're looking at here. Seeing some various stones and things around. I'm not seeing any merchants. Let's keep working our way around here a little bit. Now, the funny thing is with my luck, I'll have made this long journey, I'll get a big stack of, you know, lime, eventually, or chalk, whatever, to bring back to base. And then, you know, in episode 2 or so from now, I'll find a nice, you know, borax mine next to my house or something that I just could have gone looking for. That's the kind of luck I have in games like this. Guess it looks like it's going to be conglomerate again. Nope, this is Pitterite sand, which I know that's got value, I think, because I think there's certain types of things you can find in this. So, while not what we're looking for, still good to know it's here. Actually, we're gonna stop off real quick right here. I'm just gonna throw down a little marker so I know this is where I put my boat. Do this. Do that. Boat. There you go. I'm gonna go poking around a little bit, just to see if we see anything of value. Still really high rift activity, so we don't want to be out too long. Part of the reason I like being on the water is while the rift activity might be high, and you could in theory encounter a lot of drifters and stuff. This is granite. Not what I was looking for. I was hoping I'd find some exposed. Oh goodness, I have nearly killed myself. See, wasn't looking. Fell into a cave and oh, Olivine. So this is actually a really good accidental find. So Olivine, this is what I was looking for. Is actually very important for making high-grade furnaces, if I remember correctly. So we're actually going to mark this. So that's actually kind of an incredible find. So we're going to go cave. I'm going to make this kind of bright green. I'm going to go Olivine. So I think that's very important when you get into like steel making stuff, and that's a nice little chunk of it too. And we have no way of like harvesting it right now because you need bronze tools to harvest it. And we don't have bronze tools, but still, the fact that we found that, I knew that occurs in that Peterite stone, which is part of the reason I wanted to check, see if we found any, because I thought it did. But no, we lucked into a strike of it, so there you go. That's very lucky on our part. But I'm going to get back on our raft. Because again, not what we were looking for, but good to know it's there. We're going to go around this side of this landmass to get further south. And keep our eyes out for interesting things, so a lot of exploration we're doing tonight. You know, just keeping our eyes open for things that will be useful, particularly later on. Let's see here. What's that? That's just granite sand. Don't need granite sand. If it was limestone sand, I'd be stopping and digging it all up. Because then I could always take that back to base and pan it for limestone rocks. I wouldn't make you all watch that, but I could do that. Be a slow but nearly guaranteed way to get some limestone. It's going to be a granite rock, isn't it? Yeah, granite. So just keep going. See how long our croc's going to be fresh. 6 days, yeah. So we got plenty of food for 6 days. We're not going to be out for 6 days. We'll head back before we get to that point. And we can always get out and forage if we need to. I'm not seeing any merchants popping up, just obviously on our map here. Kind of surprising I haven't seen any. Oh. Interesting looking tree formations there. There might be something over there that might be worth looking at. Around. Looks like we got some more ruins over there, maybe. Or just an interesting bit of beach. We'll head down over here and see what we have over here. Again, also keeping my eyes out for high fertility soil. It's not super common. Like, we do have a little bit near our base. But if we see any, that'd be worth grabbing. For 2 reasons. One, you can use it to make, I think it's Terra Petra, I think is what it's called. But it's a super high fertility, it's like the highest fertility dirt you can get in the game for farming. You can use it, you can make it in other ways, but that's one of the things you can use to make it. You can also just farm in it. Straight up use it for farming. More granite sand over here. Which is what I'll probably do, that eventually is convert my farm over to high fertility soil. Because it grows plants faster, you know, which is nice. Though the medium soil is keeping me... It's working for now, you know. Okay, I'm not seeing anything standing out. We'll pull up over here to this side and get out and wander around a little bit. especially since it's now low rift activity, so we shouldn't encounter too many drifters or anything out and about, too many portals. And that looks like it's just granite up in there anyways. But we'll still check it out. We might find something worth taking back to base with us. Okay, put that there. Map. We're gonna remove this one. Delete that. Here. Looked. Save. There we go. Oh, there's some flax here. Flax is always good. Especially since it's mature and ready to harvest. I'm not going to bother marking, because I don't plan on coming this far to look for flax, normally. Keep my sword out, just in case we encounter something. Those wine cap mushrooms over there are good for eating, by the way. More flax, which I'll take with me. That'll help us when it comes time to build our sailboat, as well as our windmill that I'd like to build. Yeah, I was right, this is granite stone. Which oftentimes you can find little surface veins of copper and granite like this sometimes, or near surface. It's exposed in the rocks. I am not seeing anything really worth investigating over here. Oh, got some more flax that we'll grab real quick. There we go. A lot of flax in this area. There's like more over here that's not ready yet. Not gonna worry about it. Check these rocks, see if there's anything of interest. I think I might see some high fertility soil. Or is that peat? What is this? This is peat. Alright. Let's head back to the raft and kind of plot our next trip. We could go up and around. There's a huge... So that's a lot of granite mountains south of us. Those are wolves. Don't want to fight two wolves on foot, especially since I'm not wearing any armor. Like, could I kill two wolves? Yes. I'm not prepared to kill two wolves. Oh, hello. Now that's something worth investigating over here. First off, we got some turnips, which we'll take with us. But this is a pink apple tree. What have I made mad? Come here, pig. You asked for the smoke, you get it. Alright, well. Let's see what the pig gives us. We'll take the red meat and fat or the hide. We'll take the fat. The fat's more immediately valuable to us. Back to that tree I was looking at there. Because this apple tree... I don't really want to fight another pig. Stop it. Go away, pig. Alright, it went away. Alright, now where was I? This apple tree. Right. So apple tree. Everything does not want me getting to this apple tree. Let's see here. What can I throw out? What can I throw out? The crude arrow. There we go. Throw that crude arrow out, and I'm going to get my axe out and see if I can't sneak up on this apple tree one more time. Because since I don't expect that we're going to be back here very often, we want these cuttings. Because what we can do is we can take these back to our house and plant them. Okay, so that one became firewood. So that's as far down as we can go to get cuttings. Alright. There we go. We got 6 apple cuttings. Now those only have a 40% chance of becoming actual trees. But that's still pretty good. 6, we should get 1 or 2 trees. I got some more turnips. I'm going to grab these turnips just because that's extra food for us on our journey, as well as more seeds I can take back with us to grow turnips, which are a good colder weather crop. Alright, let's find our raft. I'll also see if we can't bed down for the night. Just heard a chicken, I'm pretty sure. Some more flax back there, but I'm not going to stop and get that flax. There's another beehive in this. You hear it? Now that I've learned how to find beehives, I'm starting to find them more often. And there's our raft over there. Let's go offload some of this loot we've gotten into our raft. This is baby chicken. Alright, here we are back at our raft. Let's put our tree cuttings in there. We'll put the seeds in there. And heck, we'll put the flax in there just to get it out of our inventory. Same with this fat here. Put the fat in there. And we can put the turnips in there just because they'll last for a while. There we go. Alright. This meat's going to be a bit more of a problem. Let's cut down a tree real quick. Small one. Just enough to get a little bit of firewood. Actually, if we're going to do that, I'm going to knock the leaves off this to see if I get an acorn. Take an acorn back with me. That's why I brought an extra axe right there. So I could do this kind of thing. No acorn. Not so lucky. Alright, but that's alright. We're going to cut this oak log down. We're going to cook up this meat. Just because it's not going to last long enough for us to do anything else with here. There we go. Yeah, knock out some of this grass and stuff. The wolf's getting close. Don't like it. Yeah, you can see it over there. I do not like how close that wolf is getting. pace him off. Looks like he's run off. Sometimes when you injure a wolf like that, instead of becoming aggroed, they will instead run, which is fine. What we wanted. Alright, so we cooked up 2 of the meat. It wasn't really enough. Oh, 3, actually. Yeah. What I can do, I'll just throw some of these sticks in here. There we go. Get us enough to hopefully cook the rest of this meat. Oh, that wolf has come back. Now I'm doing this on purpose because if I get him out into the water, I'll make him easier to fight. Oh, that's over his head. Try that one over there. Alright. Trying to figure out where my spears went. There they are. That was all those were way over him. No wonder I was missing like crazy. Now he could still be around. We're gonna keep an eye out. There he is, yep. Now normally I wouldn't put this much effort into a wolf, but this one's hanging out near our camp, makes him kind of dangerous. Put these spears back in the inventory here. I'm gonna finish eating this meat. And then I think it's late enough in the evening. We'll bed down. He shouldn't come attack us. Give your character a chance to heal up from that pig attack. Alright, let's see here. The verdict is... the wolf seems to have backed off, which is fine. We'll pick up our bed. Let's go see about moving on here. Oh, he's still around. We could probably hunt him. He's by himself. And we've injured him pretty good so far. Especially if we get some extra fat out of this. Oh, just missed him. There we go. Whew! Somehow I did that without getting hurt. He had some good. He's got some good weight to him, so there's a good chance we get some meat out of, or some fat out of this. All right, so we got some bush meat. Nice. We'll take the hide this time, and we'll also take that lump of fat. There we go. I'm not going to worry about the bones. Now let's go get our other spears back. All right. Now we'll go get back to our raft. Still annoyed that we haven't found any source of lime yet. Beyond that one seashell I found last recording. We can also remove this. We already know where our boat is. Alright. Let's see here. We can put that in there. We can put our bed back in here. Put that there. Go. And off we go. And that thing I thought was a ruin is actually just a little sandy area along the shore there. Unfortunately. There's that little stretch of sand right there. Let's head north around this gap. Because we're going to have to head north to head back to base anyways. But I'm real sad that we have not found any source of lime yet. We'll keep looking. This is a good place to look for, like, you know, fruit trees and such. Which is not something I've done a lot of work with in this game. I've not done a lot of work with planting fruit trees. I've tried. I was just seeing if that was high fertility soil. And so far, my luck's been abysmal. Because, as I said, they only have a 40% chance of actually sprouting on you after you take those cuttings and plant them. And in every instance, I've lost all of my cuttings. So, not had great luck with that. Oh, there's some high fertility soil, I believe. Yep. Now that we will get. Alright. Didn't bring a shovel with me, so we're just going to dig this out by hand. But just because it's a small amount of it, it's right here, we're going to take that with us. Because this stuff, as I said, one, it's a lot better for growing than our medium fertility farm is currently. Two, we can use it to make, here, I'll show you. Shift H. You can use it to make, obviously, cob and stuff. It's not going to show us. Alright, so let's just go, let's just close that. We'll finish digging it out, and I'll show you. There's a recipe that uses it. But there we go. Alright, so we've got 11 units of high fertility soil. It's not bad. I'm going to get offshore just in case a wolf comes by or something. And I'll pull up the handbook here. There we go. Alright, so Terra Petra. So, there you go. So you can either find it, which is very rare. It's not nearly as common as it used to be. Or you can make it. The way you make it is you use powdered charcoal, bone meal, and compost in this pattern to make one. Or if you have high fertility soil, you can use it to make 2 at a time. And this stuff is the most fertile soil you can get. Like, see, this fertility when tilled, 65. Medium soil is 50. This stuff is 80. That's why you want that stuff. That's kind of like your in-tier farming material. Which is part of the reason, you know, I've been keeping my eyes out for that high fertility soil. Because you can always use the high fertility soil directly if you want. But I like to save it for that Terra Petra. Just because that's so much better than the high fertility soil, where the 15% you gain compared to the medium soil from the high fertility is nice, but unless you've got a whole bunch of it, I would save it for making that Terra Petra. A lot of rain in this episode. Lots and lots of rain. Let's see here. Been recording about an hour. A lot of this has just been exploration. But that's okay. Part of this game is just exploration. Finding the things you need. That deer just launched itself into the ocean to try and escape me paddling by. That was kind of hilarious. How's our rift activity looking? Low? That's good. Alright, we're going to keep looking here. See if we see anything of value, and hopefully find a source of lime. Like a good, nice, large source of lime. I'm curious what that large white spot is up there. Is it like a cave up there or something? Could be. Could be. I have to climb up a mountain, and I'm not really set up to go climbing up a mountain right now. Alright, let's see here. Lots of granite in here, not seeing anything exposed. There's a big cave right there. Nice little cave. Might be worth exploring at some point. That will mark it. Put like... Just do a cave here. There we go. That way I know there's a cave in that area, so... when I come back looking for places to explore, it'll be on my list. Also keep our eyes out for fruit trees. Lots of potential for fruit trees as we get further south like this, where it's a little warmer. And also just different varieties of things. Because the crops and things you encounter do change as you change biomes. Let's see that. That's still granite. Yep, that's just granite. I'm kind of keeping my eye on these exposed rocks because you might find something like this. You find some blue clay, which is very cool. We got some blue clay right here. I'm going to mark it, though. I'm not going to grab it. So I'll just do this, and I'll just do like this, kind of like that color, and go clay. That way I know it's blue clay. And you can use blue clay to make different colored, you know, ceramics. As well as you can also use it along with red clay and some calcified flint to make fire clay, which I'll be doing that later on. But you can also just use red clay for that. You don't have to use a mixture of the two or anything like that. You also tend to get blue clay from panning, kind of often. But once we get kind of settled in the Bronze Age, we will want some fire clay. And I'll probably want some fire clay before then, because you need fire clay for a couple things. One, you need to make fire bricks, which you use to make bloomeries to smelt iron and glass. So, to get into the Iron Age, you need fire clay. The other thing you want it for, and what I'm probably going to get some made for here in the near future, is to make an oven. So if you want to do any baking, you have to have fire clay. You can also find it naturally in the world, though it's not super common. And actually, one of the YouTubers I follow just found a large vein of fire clay while mining. Because if you find, black coal, you can find fire clay under it. I did not know that. I learned that just recently. Got chickens up there, it looks like. Not that I'm going to be stopping for those chickens. I've never actually had to travel this far and long to find limestone or chalk. So this is a new experience. I see people talking about this all the time on the Reddit, where, I've traveled for days looking for lime, and it's just not finding any. Well, I now join you, Reddit folks, in the unending search for lime. Let's take a look at our map, see if we've missed anything. Not seeing anything sticking out here. Not even merchant. Okay. We'll just have to keep continuing on. We'll go around all this. Let's see here. Anything? If I zoom in, I'm not seeing anything that really sticks out to me either. Again, we'll keep our eyes out just in case we see something interesting. I do like that mountain. The floating rock's kind of interesting there. Oh, there's a bow torn in that cave over there. I'm not going to get too close to that. Don't feel like getting shot at. Oh, there's something sticking out on that, though. I don't know if that's just cracked granite or if that's a exposed node. What is this? What is this? What do we have here? Tin ore. Oh my goodness. I wish I had brought my pick, so I'm going to mark that. Tin. Alright, so we've got exposed tin right here. That's casterite, that's tin. I wish I had brought my pick, because that would have put us right into the Bronze Age right there. Yep, that's what I get for exploring around without my pick. It's also why I keep my eyes on these rock formations you see just scattered around. You never know when you might find something you're looking for. Kind of a long journey to get tin, especially since I did some prospecting, as I said earlier, and I found signs of tin nearer my base, but that's also just right there. I don't have to go digging around looking for it, so I know right where it is. So I probably will come back for it. It's also totally worth it to do that. Let's see here. The good thing about the tin is you actually don't need a ton of it. I think per, 100 units of tin bronze you want to make, you only need like 2 nuggets or something like that. Because it's only like 8 to 12% of it needs to be tin. The rest of it is copper. I did the math. There's like some super like efficient ratio I was using. I think it's like right around making 600 units of tin bronze at a time. You get this like near perfect ratio. Silver granite sand. Alright, map-wise, how are we looking here? Let's keep heading this direction. I'm kind of surprised I've not seen much in the way of deserts. Because normally that's what I look for. Normally you find a nice like limestone or chalk desert biome and you'll be set for all the quicklime you'll ever need. Lots of chickens around here. See, that's like the 8th chicken I've seen on this trip. And I know there's more, like, up in there. Just standing by the shore, though. Lots of chickens around. That's seriously... There's a copper vein right here under this little dirt patch out here in the middle of the water. That's kind of hilarious. I'll mark it. I'm probably never going to mine it, but I'm going to mark it just because that's funny to me. Look at that big old cave over there. That is a big old cave. Let's continue on. Because I feel good. I feel good about it as we head further south here. It's getting warmer. Like right now it's 28 degrees Celsius out. Now, one thing I have noticed a lot about deserts, sometimes you get a lot of, like, temporal instability issues in deserts. Just, game seems to like to do that. Not that it's a huge problem, but it's just something to be aware of. It can be a problem if you ignore it. How about that? Well, let's turn more southward here. What I might end up doing is just setting up an away camp kind of thing here. What's going on? It says it's calm, but I'm still losing temporal stability here, so I'm guessing this is a temporally unstable area. So there are just parts of the world that are just less temporally stable than the rest of it. This is just medium fertility soil. Yeah, it's just medium fertility soil. What's that? Granite sand. That's also probably why the music's going up a little bit. It's probably because this is just a temporally unstable area. Because if you notice, it says calm, so. As far as rift activity goes. let's keep going. Because I'm also going to stop and cook that meat we picked up from, like, the wolf and stuff soon. I would get out and just explore, but with the temporal stability, just look at how fast that's going down. Yeah, that's not good. The faster the gear spins, the faster you're losing it. So I'm guessing it's actually out here in the water. It's probably where the center of it is. But that is not making me inclined to get out and explore. Agglomerate sand again. That, and I'm also not seeing anything like merchants or anything like what I'm looking for. Okay, our temporal stability's calmed back down, so that's good. Oh, we got some different colored stone over there. It could also just be the light. What we're gonna do is get onto this area over here. Do one last check of our map, and then we're probably gonna call it there. And we'll just have to keep searching for this solution for our limestone problem. Though I do see some, looks like quartz in the rocks out over there, so that's nice. Been seeing a lot of quartz veins, but quartz is fairly common, so that's not surprising. Looks like we have granite and conglomerate next to each other, if I'm seeing this correctly. Let's get a little closer and take a look. Yeah, that's a nice big quartz vein there. Means it might be worth coming and looking for gold and silver here at some point. Let's see here, what do we have here yet? Granite and conglomerate. That's exactly what I thought it was. Alright, let's see. Anything interesting over here? Basically, I'm just going to get around this bend and we'll check the map, because that should give me a nice another chunk to look at. See if we see anything of value. I'm going to just cut through this little channel over here. Those orange mushrooms you see over there, those are like jack-o'-lantern mushrooms. They're actually poisonous. Don't eat them. I do like using them as bait in small animal traps, though, because the animals apparently don't care. Let's see here. Alright, so that does not go through. Good to know. And I'm not seeing anything. Like, that's some crops. I know those little light green spots in open fields like that are crops. But I'm not seeing any merchants. Nothing. Wow. Lots of flowers there. Lots of flowers there. How? Just no merchants, no... Oh, wait, there's a merchant over there. Let's go to the merchant. We'll call it at the merchant. That'll be a good place to stop. So who knows? That might be the elusive treasure hunter merchant that we've been looking for. So I think that'll be a good place to stop our exploration and take a quick look. Alright. So we'll pull up here. Let's drop our thing off there. Get off the boat. Mark it on the map so we don't lose it. Boat. There we go. Got some spelt. We'll grab the spelt. Just because it's good grain to have. There we go. And let's go see what kind of merchant we got over here. See this little hut over there? Also gonna feed our character real quick. We haven't had any berries in a while, so we'll grab some berries. There we go. What is that? Is that more high fertility soil over here? I'm getting squirreled. Oh, it is. So we'll grab that while we're here. See, it was good. This merchant was a sign for us to get off and explore here a little bit. So not only did we find a merchant, we found some more high fertility soil, which, while not what we set out for, is still very valuable. There we go. There's a little bit right here, too. If I end up with a full sack of high fertility soil from this trip, I mean, that'll be pretty good. That'll really advance our farm when we get back to base. It also makes me think about setting up a greenhouse. That's something you can do. So if you build a building or a room, and you cover it with a glass roof, you can set up a greenhouse. And, well, it's not super critical for long-term survival or anything like that. It is good for growing warm weather crops later in the year. So he's got some empty chests out here in the back. All merchants have like little chests and things you can access just out in the back there. Let's see what kind of merchant this is. Close the door behind us. By the way, that's a pile of rusty gears. Alright. It's another buildings materials trader. Let's see what his name is. It's Well. Alright, let's see what he wants or was selling. Well, he sells fire clay bricks, which, there you go. So you can just come here, you just buy fire bricks from him, and save yourself the trouble of making them. So that's actually good. He also sells red shingles, which is what I plan to make the roof of my house out of. And plaster, chalk polished. Can I do anything with chalk? Not the polished chalk. If it wasn't polished, that would solve my problem right there. Such is my luck. He'll buy quicklime, the thing I need. Hilarious. Okay. Alright, well, we'll just mark him on the map. Another building materials trader. Alright, what was that mark the last one as? Was it blue? I think it was light blue. There we go. Well, folks, I think we'll stop off there here, having found another building materials trader that is not what we're looking for. Though, like the other one, we'll buy the stuff we're looking for. I think all the building material traders will buy lime. But their inventories and what they buy and sell do cycle. So, anyways, this has been Thalon McRom. If you enjoyed this content, do like and subscribe. If you have comments on the content, please leave comments. I love comments. Tell me what you like, tell me what you don't like. Heck, tell me what you like about Vintage Story, tell me how you found it. I found it randomly because a friend of mine was like, oh, by the way, my gaming community is going to be playing Vintage Story. You should check it out. And that's how I discovered it. Anyways, you all have a great one, and we'll talk to you next time.